In this video, we'll be taking a look at 2 NFL games happening on September 18, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. New Orleans Saints versus Carolina Panthers. 2 National Football Conference South rivals meet up for the first time this season when the New Orleans Saints travel to take on the Carolina Panthers. The Saints started off the season with a 16-15 win over Tennessee at home, but did not cover the 3-point spread as favorites. The Panthers lost in Atlanta, going down 24-10 to the Falcons as 3.5-point underdogs. The Panthers won both matchups last season, but each team is featuring new quarterbacks this season. The first of 2 Monday Night Football games this week will see the New Orleans Saints visit the Carolina Panthers for a showdown in the National Football Conference South. It marks the Panthers' 2023 home opener as they went on the road in Week 1 and lost to a different division rival, the Atlanta Falcons, via a 24-10 decision. Another tough test in the form of New Orleans awaits number 1 overall pick Bryce Young, but at least Carolina is playing at home. This team compiled a 5-4 record at Bank of America Stadium last season compared to 2-6 on the road. The Panthers swept New Orleans, the only team they beat in the first 6 weeks of the year. That sweep included a 10-7 victory in the Big Easy in the season finale. Carolina certainly wasn't great last weekend, but neither was New Orleans. The Saints just barely scraped past the Tennessee Titans 16-15 at home, where Derek Carr was decent. Alvin Kamara is suspended, and unsurprisingly, there was no semblance of a running game in Week 1. Jamal Williams produced just 45 yards on 18 carries, and the Saints as a team gained 69 yards on 27 attempts. Both teams feature new quarterbacks, but the veteran will adapt to his new team faster than the rookie will. Bryce Young had tough preseason opener with only 21 yards and no scoring drives, and he did not play well in the season opener with only 146 yards and more interceptions than touchdowns. On the other side of the field, Carr threw for over 300 yards and made clutch plays down the stretch to win a close game in his first game with New Orleans. The Saints' defense was excellent on all levels and did not allow a single touchdown against the Titans. Bryce Young will have a difficult time leading drives against a team that had 3 sacks and 3 interceptions last week. The Saints are still without Kamara, but Williams is a capable fill-in until he returns. The Saints' young receivers, Olive and Shade, far outperformed any of the wideouts on Carolina. Carr will continue to get more and more comfortable in the Saints' offense and is backed by a strong defense. Carr's chemistry with Olive was apparent in Week 1 and Thomas' play was encouraging for the Saints as well. I expect the Saints to put a bit more emphasis on the ground game this week after struggling on the ground against the Titans. As long as the Saints stick to the ground attack, it will open up opportunities for Carr to throw the ball down the field. That down-the-field attack will come even a bit easier this week with Panthers cornerback Horn downgraded as out due to a hamstring injury. Panthers quarterback Young will likely have another challenging week facing an even tougher defense than he did in Week 1 against the Falcons. The Saints secondary is physical and will play a lot of man-to-man on the outside. The Panthers' lack of explosive plays in Week 1 has to be a concern as Young only threw for just over 145 yards and didn't complete anything longer than 14 yards. The Titans presented a more experienced, physical challenge for the Saints in Week 1. Carr should find smoother sailing this week against the Panthers defense. It'll be interesting to see how the Saints fare heading out onto the road, but I've already started selling my stock in this Panthers team as I didn't like what I saw in the preseason, and that carried over into Week 1. Maybe they'll be fine down the road, but for right now, I have to put the Panthers on auto fade. The Panthers surprised the Saints last year, winning both contests as underdogs in each game. On Monday night, however, I like the Saints to gain a measure of revenge with a win over the Panthers. The Saints have the better quarterback, offensive weapons, and defense. I'll side with the Saints, who have shown me more, especially on defense after Week 1. So the New Orleans Saints to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Panthers and Saints combined to score just 26 points in Week 1. The Saints had just 16 points against the Titans' stout defense defense and struggled to find any success running the football. The Panthers only managed 10 points in their loss to the Falcons and were completely devoid of any explosive plays. Young also made two very bad reads in the middle of the field that resulted in interceptions by the Falcons safeties. He will find things even more challenging against a Saints secondary that had 3 interceptions against the Titans. Neither of these teams finished in the top half of the NFL in total offense in 2023, and with new quarterbacks and new systems this year, it will take time for each team's offense to get comfortable. Last year, these two teams head-to-head combined for 36 points and 17 points. The year before that, they scored a total of 33 points and 28 points in the two meetings. The Saints are going to live and die by their defense, especially while Kamara is sidelined. They were number 6 in the NFL in total defense last season and are off to a strong start to the 2023 campaign. Derrick Henry of the Titans rushed for just 63 yards, while Ryan Tannehill completed only 16 of 34 passes for 198 yards with no touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Although the Panthers got torched on the ground last week, to say that New Orleans isn't Atlanta when it comes to running the football would be a massive understatement. There is a chance that the field could be soaked too, following Sunday to Thursday thunderstorms. All in all, this number is too high. I expect another fairly low-scoring affair for each team on Monday night in Carolina. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Cleveland Browns versus Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cleveland Browns make the trip to Pennsylvania to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday evening at Acrisure Stadium in a divisional matchup. The Browns will be hoping for their first 2-0 start since 1993, while Pittsburgh will be looking for their first win of the new season. The Steelers won their last meeting with the Browns 28-14 at home in January. If it's historical stats you're into, then just take the Steelers, as the Browns have only one regular season win in Pittsburgh since they returned in 1999, and that was way back in 2003. However, things are different in 2023, and Cleveland is favored for the first time since 1989 to win in Pittsburgh for good reason. The teams could not have had more contrasting first games, as the Browns crushed a Bengals team that has been to the last 2 American Football Conference Championship games 24-3, limiting Joe Burrow to a career-low 82 passing yards while running for 206 yards. The Steelers were on the other end of a one-sided game, losing 30-7 to the 49ers while managing just 41 rushing yards, a fifth of the Browns' tally. Now, Week 2 is notorious for make a fool of those reading the Week 1 results as teams who struggled on the road head home and vice versa, but there's a lot of ground for the Steelers to make up, and they have to try to do it against a team with a similarly strong defensive line to the 49ers. Both teams picked up important injuries in their openers. The Browns lost starting right tackle Jack Conklin for the season with a knee injury, so rookie Darwin Jones is getting a baptism of fire against TJ Watt, although the Browns will be just as concerned about left tackle Jedrick Wills holding up. Their task was made easier by one of the Steelers' injuries, though, with star defensive lineman Cam Hayward placed on injury report due to a groin injury, while wide receiver Deontay Johnson would be another big loss. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson was not great in the first half against the Bengals, but conditions were harsh and he outperformed Burrow by some way, showing potential in his connections with Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, and Marquise Goodwin. The Browns have been at risk of a letdown this week after their big win. The Steelers have won and covered against the spread in each of their last 4 games away from their home stadium. In their last meeting with the Browns, Pittsburgh rushed for 148 yards and a touchdown against the Cleveland defense. Odds are they will duplicate their success on the ground, as the Browns ranked near the bottom of the league in rushing defense last year. Pittsburgh's defense had quarterback Deshaun Watson's number in their last matchup with the Browns, sacking him 7 times and picking off 2 passes. The Steelers ranked 14th in the league last season in team sack percentage and 15th in total sacks, and they are off to a similar start in the new year, so look for them to have continued success against Watson, who was sacked 3 times in Cleveland's Week 1 clash with the Bengals. While the Browns got off to a promising start with their win versus Cincinnati last week, the trend strongly suggests Pittsburgh will shut down Watson and do enough damage with their running game to pull out the victory at home. So the Pittsburgh Steelers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Pittsburgh ranked towards the bottom of the league in several key offensive categories last season, including average points scored per game, so the odds they score quickly in bunches against Cleveland's defense, albeit middle of the pack, are low. The Steelers performed slightly worse on the road than they did at home last year, averaging only 17 points per game away from their home stadium. The Steelers have gone under in 3 of their previous 4 games overall and 5 of their last 7. Despite trading for wide receiver Allen Robinson III in the offseason and gaining additional experience for quarterback Pickett, the Pittsburgh offense managed to score only only 7 points against the San Francisco 49ers at home last week. Cleveland has gone over the point total only once in their previous 8 games, and they have gone under in their last 4 road games. The improved Browns defense gave up only a field goal to the Bengals in Week 1. The Browns opted for the run 40 times last week, and I expect more of the same. Running plays will eat more off the clock, plus the Steelers' defense could not contain the run last week, so I see no reason why the Browns won't attempt several running plays. The Steelers are playing without Cameron Hayward, which doesn't help. In addition, the Steelers managed only 7 points on 239 total yards against the 49ers' strong defense. The Browns are another solid defensive squad that made Burrow look horrible. Despite attempting 47 passes, Pickett still only managed 232 passing yards in the opener. They are also playing without Deontay Johnson. There remain more questions for the offenses of these teams to answer than the defenses. Both teams played in Week 1 games that saw one of the sides fail to post a double-digit score, and both those contests failed to reach even the modest game total set for this matchup. The Browns allowed only 3 points to a high-powered Bengals offense, with Jammer Chase limited to 39 receiving yards and T. Higgins failing to catch a single ball despite being targeted 8 times. The Steelers will now likely have to deal with the impressive Browns cornerback trio of Denzel Ward, M.J. Emerson, and Greg Newsome without wide receiver Deontay Johnson, who is doubtful with a hamstring injury. The new-look Browns offense remains a work in progress and gets a second straight testing examination, having achieved a pass grade against the Bengals without looking as sharp as they would have wanted. With 2 solid defensive lines taking the field in this contest and Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt hunting quarterbacks, a low-scoring affair looks very likely for this intriguing showdown. The under is 4-1 in the Steelers' last 5 home games. The trends strongly suggest a lower-scoring affair when these 2 squads meet on Monday. I expect scoring to be at a premium. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.